And just a quick follow-up on a different subject. You mentioned last week that the president is expected to give a formal press briefing.
Press conference, yep.
Yes, before the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a commitment. Before, in the next few weeks, we will see him and take questions and follow-ups and so forth.
Yeah, he has done about 40 Q&As since he took office, but in terms of a formal press conference, which I understand there's a big focus on, yes, we will have one before the end of the month.
And what does it mean going forward? Will we see more of President Biden, specifically?
More than 40 Q&As in the last month, or?
Where he will be submitted to more extensive questions, follow-ups, the kind of things we're doing today. Will we see him regularly?
I don't know that you'll see him more than 40 times a month, but I'm happy to ask him that question. Go ahead, Yamiche.
Hi, thanks so much. A couple questions. First, on direct aid, I know that March 14th was the deadline because of the unemployment that was running out. Is the White House basically ensuring people that their unemployment, that enhanced unemployment, that they'll be able to still get that and that there will be no lapse there? And also, is there a concern about what happened last time where there was a backlog at the IRS and there was a backlog in checks going out to people? Is that a concern, and has that been worked on?
Well, I can assure you, having been on a call with her this morning, that Secretary Yellen is focused like a laser on ensuring that there's a clear process and system for ensuring this assistance gets out as quickly as possible. I certainly understand the questions. My friends, neighbors, everybody's asking me the same thing about when they will get assistance, when this will go out the door, but it is really up to them on the mechanics of it. And as I noted a little bit earlier, and Yamiche, I think we've talked about this, there was concern about the gap of people in the last with the December package that were left out and didn't receive the assistance, and that's certainly something that is being factored into the administration and the process here. But I really leave it to Treasury to provide an update on the mechanics of it.
And then I know you said the president's preference is to not do away with the filibuster. House Majority Whip Jim Clyburn, he said that if Democrats want to keep enjoying the majority, that they have to find some workaround around the filibuster. He said maybe it would be a cinema mansion rule. I wonder if the president would be behind some sort of rule for specific legislation. Jim Clyburn was talking about civil rights and voting rights legislation. Would the president back any sort of filibuster workaround for specific legislation?
Again, it's not his preference, and he believes with an issue as important as voting rights, there should be a path forward to work with Democrats and Republicans to get it done. So nothing's changed on his policy on the filibuster.
I'm wondering, I was not asking specifically about the filibuster, more about a rule that would get around the filibuster for specific legislation like voting rights and civil rights. Would he possibly get behind that? Not doing away with the entire filibuster.
No, I understand. I just don't have, he's not, his preference is not to make different changes to the rules, to the filibuster rules.
And on a separate issue on the border, I understand that the delegation is going to brief the president. I wonder, can you talk a little bit more about what was seen there, what was most concerning, especially, I know this administration has said over and over again, it's not the right time to come. Mm-hmm. They talked to children, they talked to officials. Has that message been reached to the immigrants who are coming across our borders?
Well, I think first I'm going to allow the president to receive the briefing first before we talk about it more publicly. But I will also say, just an expectation set, that this is a normal part of an internal policy process, and I don't anticipate that we're going to give extensive briefings about internal policy processes or internal discussions that the policy team will have with the president. They went there because the president asked them to go, because he wanted to hear and understand tangibly what's happening on the ground. And, having sat in on briefings with him about this issue, the questions he asks are, how many teachers are there? What specific steps can be done to improve the processes of the timeline of how quickly kids get from shelter facilities into homes? What's the logjam in the process? These are the kinds of things that he's looking for more detailed information on, and I think he wanted to hear tangibly from people who had recently visited the facilities on the ground, hence they went. But, any policy discussion will be private, as any policy meeting would be in an administration.
You can imagine, though, that there is real interest, especially among people in this country, to know more about what's going on at the border, especially when you have unaccompanied minors. I wonder how, I understand that there has to be private conversations, but why not say more, and why not at least say, yes, our message is being received, or no, we need to work more on getting the message out?
I would say it's clear we need to work more on getting the message out and being very clear. Now is not the time to come. There is the majority of people who come to the border are turned away. Yes, we have changed the policies of the last administration as it relates to unaccompanied children, but the majority of families, adults, the vast majority are turned away at the border. And that is a message that clearly we need to continue to look for means and ways of getting out, more and more out to the region.
Is there a time for the prime time address? Completely housekeeping, but is there a time specifically for?
It's a great question. I will follow up. I think I know it, but let me double check and make sure it 100% landed on the time I think it's going to be. Well, can I come back? Because let me go ahead to the back.
Thank you, Jen. Foreign policy question. As you know, there's been constant attack by the Houthi rebels on targeting Saudi Arabia. The Wall Street Journal just quoting a senior Saudi official saying that actually the attack yesterday on the port of Ras Tanura was originated from Iraq or Iran. Does the White House believe that this is a game changer since it's not from Yemen? And will you hold Iran accountable?
Well, first, we continue to be alarmed by the frequency of Houthi attacks on Saudi Arabia. Escalating attacks like these are not the actions of a group that is serious about peace. The attacks are unacceptable and dangerous and put the lives of innocent civilians at work, including Americans. We, of course, continue to work in close cooperation with the Saudis, given the threat, as you referenced, that they are facing on a frequent basis from these attacks. And we understand that they face genuine security threats from Yemen and others in the region. As a part of our interagency process, we'll look for ways to improve support for Saudi Arabia's ability to defend its territory against threats, but I don't have anything from that to predict for you at this point in time.
Can you update us on the negotiation with the Iranians? Where are we now? I mean, is it stalled? Is it you offering them something new? Where are we?
Well, it's an ongoing discussion about, based on the reaction of the Iranians to the EU invitation. We see this as a part of the diplomatic process, but we don't have any update in terms of a date or timeline for that discussion.